Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Sunday evening to you all. Hope you guys are doing well out there and staying safe. Here to give you an update on what's going on with the severe weather. I made a quick, very short video a few hours ago, but we're going to give you some new information. Really, there's not any new information except for the fact that this is cranking up right now. So if you watch this video and you're tuning in for the severe weather coverage, chances are that this will be old information, but there's a lot of people going live, Ryan Hall, a lot of other great people who go live in the weather YouTube community. But the very beginning part of this video, we will do our part here on this channel and give you some updated information and talk about what's going on right now, what could happen over the next several hours into the overnight hours. So we're going to talk about that. Then we're going to break down everything going forward between now and the next 5 to 6 days. It's going to be an incredibly active weather week. This same system is going to turn into a quick-hitting winter storm for the upper Midwest. The same system will turn into a winter weather event for the Northeast. Certain areas in the Northeast will have winter storm criteria, winter weather. Others just advisory, but there's chances like New York City to Boston that could get appreciable snowfall. Boston's a tricky area, but I really think southern New England, and like I said, even New York City, Long Island, especially those areas, could see their most snow they've seen this winter. And then towards the second half of the video, we'll focus in on that next system that I think is going to be extremely impactful for a lot of people. Almost everybody in the eastern U.S. is going to have some kind of impacts from this. So that being said, if you folks have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. It really goes a long way. And if you guys got anything that I can pray about or pray over, as always, please put those in the comments below. It gives me an opportunity to pray over it, and it gives others an opportunity to do so too. So before we get going, I want to do something different. This is going to be, remember I told you guys I became an ambassador for Weatherflow Tempest. And so this is going to be my first run at promoting this product. So we're going to give it a go here. I want to let you guys know that this is an incredible weather station. I've had it for 3 weeks now. I set it out. It's right outside of this room right here, and I set it in a location. This is a different weather station. A lot of these weather stations, you got to put them together, things like that. This comes out the box, and you can assemble it in like 5 minutes. This weather station literally learns your backyard or front yard, your exact geographical location. It takes, weeks, months to figure it out, but it actually generates a forecast for your area. It's pretty incredible. And, it measures rain in a different way. It doesn't use a tipping mechanism or anything like that, but the way it measures it is by how many times basically a raindrop hits the surface, the top part of this Tempest. It's pretty crazy, and I'm going to continue to pump out information about this. I'm probably going to make a review and really dive deep into this, but it's an incredible weather station, and like I said, I'm going to put a link below this video. It's basically going to be a link you can click, and it will take you to the website, and basically you will get a 10% off under Mitch West Weather, and I will tell you right off the dot, this station's pretty cool. It's definitely different. I have 2 different kinds of weather stations, not gonna lie, and this one just brings its own game. So I'm very excited for the future to see how this learns, kind of learns my backyard, learns my actual location. It's gonna be really cool. I'm a weather nerd, you guys know that, but just it actually creating a 7-day forecast for you in your actual location. It's going to be crazy to see how accurate this can be. And from everything I heard from other people who've had it for a long time, it is incredibly accurate. So we want to put that out there. Like I said, there will be a link under the video. Just click the link. If you guys got any questions, let me know. This includes the actual Tempest weather station, wind meters, different weather meters, all kinds of cool gadgets and stuff like that. So I want to throw that out there. That'll become a more informative in the future. So thank y'all for bearing with me. I don't want this channel to become like one of the other channels that just does nothing but promoting stuff, but we're going to do this a couple times a month, certainly promote this product. And this is a great opportunity for me and a great opportunity for you guys to get a nice little discount on something. So with that being said, let's get into the weather because there's a lot to talk about right now. Water vapor loop, as you can tell, right into here. Watch, and let's see if this will work for me. Let's check out the dot right here. Watch out these storms. Oh no, it's not going to do it for me. Well, that stinks. Okay, so I guess I can't use my gadget. But anyways, It's weird how that thing works. I think I need to upgrade it, update it. It needs an update, so maybe that's why. But if you watch right here, watch how the wider colors blast right here. These are supercells developing as I speak. So this is a now thing, guys. And That's why it's always weird talking on systems. You know, guys, I normally talk on future weather systems, but we want to continue to pump out information. The more information we get out there, the better, because the last thing you want to do is be out here in Oklahoma City, Tulsa, any other small community in town, and not know that this is coming. This is developing right now. So nasty line of storms developing in the panhandle of Oklahoma, Texas, and areas of western Kansas as I speak right now. Watches and warnings. You got tornado watches up and things like that. We'll talk about that here in a second. But as you can tell, winter storm warnings up for the upper Midwest. Winter storm watches up for the Northeast. Winter weather advisories up for many areas, including Boston, including New York City. Well, actually, I do not think it includes New York City as of right now. But all these tan colors, that is wind advisories. So high wind warnings right here. Winds are already incredible moving into the panhandle of Texas as I speak right now. I mean, incredibly strong winds. So we look at, it's a moderate risk as of right now. This is the latest updated information, a huge moderate risk now stretching from portions of Texas all the way through the heart of Oklahoma. This includes Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Norman, and just to the north. This is where a pretty powerful line of storms is going to develop. It's already developing right now and will sweep through this area. And then there is going to be a tornado threat, and we'll talk about the wind threat here in a second. A tornado threat that develops here in the next hour or two, right down here in far southwest Oklahoma. There will likely be a tornado or 2 or 3 that forms very quickly. These will be moving very fast. There's a 10% risk of a tornado within 25 miles in any given location. There's also a 10% risk of a strong tornado, a hatched risk, EF2 or higher in this risk. And they're thinking there is going to be a strong tornado that develops probably very quickly, but it's likely going to happen. In fact, we look at this graphic where there's a tornado watch. Like I said, by the time some of you folks watch this, there'll be a tornado watch issued further downstream somewhere else. But this is a new graphic they show. There's a 90% chance of severe wind, a 90% chance in this watch area of somebody seeing 75 mile per hour plus winds in this watch area. There's a 60% chance of a tornado somewhere in this watch area. A 40% chance of a strong tornado, EF2 to EF5. 40% chance of severe hail. 40% chance of 2+ inches, 2+ in diameter inch hail. So the max expected winds with this watch somewhere in here is 100 miles per hour. That is a Category 2 hurricane force winds, guys. Incredible. Another way you can look at this is this. In this watch, a few tornadoes are likely. Scattered hail up to tennis ball size possible, and widespread wind gust up to 100 miles per hour likely. So what's going on right at this moment? And this is as of 5:46 Eastern time, so 4:46 out here. Big hail already being reported. Well, not big, but you got, pea-sized hail being reported, but we'll probably get some bigger reports. Blowing dust being reported ahead of this line. Winds are extremely strong, developing right into this area along this line and ahead of this line, and this is the line of storms. If you're wondering who's going to see the worst or the best chance to see a tornado, it's going to be somewhere into here, most likely. This almost extends into Oklahoma City. There's going to be, basically, this is where the best moisture is. The dew point's rising into the upper 50s, low 60s. Low 60s probably going to be the max area. Somebody's going to see a tornado in this area, more than likely here in the next hour or two, probably a couple hours. So dangerous setup coming. This line of storms will develop and sweep across this area right here. Okay, so everybody's going to get hit in this area more than likely with an intense line of storms over the next several hours into the overnight hours. How can this look? Let's take a look at the latest HRRR model run, literally the latest one. And here it goes. It's doing decent. And one thing we worry about is this area right here on the tail end of this line. Someone is going to have a chance to see a quick tornado and potentially a strong tornado, EF2 or higher. Anytime I say a strong tornado, all tornadoes are strong, but a strong tornado is an EF2 or higher. But right down here, basically where the moist air is the best, the highest, dew point's the highest. And, these cells kind of have a little bit of room to breathe down here at the tail end of this line. That's where someone's going to potentially see a tornado. Look at this little lone cell at the end of this line. And we'll stop it right here. This is around 8 p.m. Oklahoma City right in here, Tulsa up in here. Look at this pink showing up in here. That is an intense line of storm. This is producing damaging winds. This quickly develops all the way down to almost Abilene, Texas, sweeps across North Texas, but it will be the most intense in Oklahoma by far. Okay, so this is around 9-10 p.m. Sometimes these move a lot quicker than what the models show. So I would say, but somewhere between 9 to 10, maybe 11 p.m., this begins to sweep through Oklahoma City. Just be in your house, be in a safe spot. You're going to know this is coming. I mean, you're going to see the lightning in the sky. The winds are going to pick up. The sun's going to be down by the time this comes through central Oklahoma, northern Oklahoma, northeast Oklahoma. But you're going to know this is coming. You're going to physically see just flashes of lightning. You're going to know this is coming. So it's the only line of storm sweeping through. It's not like you have a multicellular mode ahead of this line. This is the weather maker. It comes through. And this will be a weather maker. By the time we're getting into probably after midnight, 1, 2 a.m., this begins to lose some steam, but do not let this catch you off guard. This is still pumping out damaging winds as it's moving into Missouri and portions of northern Arkansas as it sweeps throughout the wee hours of the morning. How strong can these winds be? They're already very strong right now. 60, 70, 80 mile per hour winds entering out of New Mexico into the panhandle of Texas as we speak. But the line of storms will develop. This is as of 9 p.m. Along these lines, you see where you see these darker kind of brownish colors? That is winds pushing 70 to 80 miles per hour embedded in some of these cells in this line of storms it looks like it's going to maximize right over Oklahoma City or maybe just west. But no doubt Oklahoma City is going to see tropical storm to briefly hurricane force winds, maybe more. Certain areas where the line is the most intense, and we don't know exactly where that's going to be until it's happening, the storm is going to be quite intense, hurricane force winds. So this is around 10, 11 p.m., blast through Tulsa, and still strong lines. Strong winds associated with this line of storms when we get into midnight, moving into areas of southeast Kansas, into southwest areas of Missouri, northeast Arkansas, and then it continues to head towards the Midwest and the Ohio Valley. Okay, so this is going to be a big deal, and this is kind of the rest of the line sweeping through. Pretty intense. Still pretty intense line of storms into Missouri as we're getting into the wee hours of the morning tomorrow morning. Wind-driven rain moving into Chicago at around 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning tomorrow morning. This is cold enough air up here where this is heavy freezing rain developing in areas of central and northern sections of Wisconsin, even in areas of Minnesota. And we'll stop it here. This is right, as we're waking up around 7 to 8 a.m. This is still very strong winds in areas of Illinois. This is a wind-driven rain in Chicago, even Milwaukee. Milwaukee, you guys will just have old-fashioned rain with this. But this is extremely heavy freezing rain moving into cold enough temperatures for freezing rain as we're getting into about the 7 a.m. time frame. So this is going to be a nasty corridor of freezing rain moving into northern Wisconsin, and then heavy snow for areas of kind of northern to northeast Wisconsin. I think that areas like Green Bay could get a solid several inches of snow. And then we're getting into about midday Monday. This begins to overtake the UP of Michigan, snowing pretty hard up here in northeast Minnesota. Widespread winter weather moving into central to northern Michigan, another area of freezing rain. I think Detroit, you'll be just south of that freezing rain line, but there's going to be another corridor of freezing rain in central Michigan. But southern Michigan, I think you'll be saved, mainly rain with this, but heavy snow, moderate to heavy snow throughout the Monday afternoon. And then this will head out, and by the time you're waking up Tuesday morning, this will be, this will be all gone. Okay, so winds with this very strong. Like I said, wind-driven rain moving into Chicago, northern Illinois. It's going to be even quite windy into Wisconsin. Very, very windy in southern areas of Illinois as you're waking up tomorrow morning. You're waking up to strong winds in western Tennessee, Kentucky, southeast Missouri, very strong winds moving through, and this amplifies as you get later into the morning hours down here. Quad States regions, southern Ohio Valley, very, very strong winds. And, where ice is accumulating, this could be an issue where you have 30 to 40 mile per hour winds, where freezing rain falling. So a big issue up here, but this will be another big wind maker across Kentucky, Indiana, Tennessee, where you could have sporadic 35 to 50 mile per hour wind gusts moving through tomorrow afternoon. Then eventually this makes its way into the interior northeast. But like I said, I meant to have this up before I showed you the winter weather, but winter storm warnings up for northern Wisconsin, a few counties in northeast Minnesota. Just winter weather advisories up for Michigan. I think this is just due to the fact this isn't going to be a long duration event. But no advisories as of right now in Minneapolis. Snowfall, I think the most snow will fall maybe just north of Green Bay, but Green Bay, you can get 3 to 4 inches of snow just north of Green Bay. There will be an area to maybe see 6 to 8 inches of snow. Whole entire UP of Michigan, 3 to 5 inches of snow is possible. And then same kind of deal, but maybe a little less, maybe 2 to 4 inches of snow in northern Michigan, and more of some snow in northeast Minnesota. Freezing rain, they are very bullish with this. Saying in areas of kind of eastern to east central Minnesota and to northern Wisconsin, central Wisconsin, widespread 2/10 to 3/10 of an inch of ice showing up. And even just north of Grand Rapids into this area right here in Michigan, even going for a glaze of ice here in Green Bay, but a 1/10 to 2/10 of an inch of ice. This is significant ice, and I don't think it's because of the snow, but I think it's just going to be because of the mixture of ice and snow is why you have a winter storm warning up for areas, widespread areas in the northern half of Wisconsin. Okay, this is going to be definitely an impactful event up here, so definitely be aware. We're pretty much in range for, I would say, 75% of the storm for the HRRR model for the Northeast, but this will move in, and you'll start to see winter weather as early as tomorrow afternoon for areas of northern PA, southwest New York states, and then this becomes widespread as we're getting into Monday evening around 7 p.m. It's snowing pretty good based off the HRRR model in areas of like Scranton, Binghamton, New York, all these surrounding regions. This is a heavy thumping of snow down here. What is it, Lewistown? I got a faithful viewer that watches my content. I think you guys sometime tomorrow, late afternoon into the evening hours, could get a really solid front end thumping of snow, kind of what you saw last week, where you get maybe a quick couple inches of snow, hopefully. And then check this out. Snow begins to overspread late into the evening into New York City. As far south, you could have a mixture as far south as maybe northern Delaware, northern Maryland, maybe southern sections of New Jersey. But this is extremely heavy snow moving into New York City around 9, 10, 11 p.m., even into areas of Long Island and overtakes the city. We're getting into the middle of the night at this point, and you begin to mix a little bit with New York City as the low pressure gets really close by, but it's still absolutely nuking snow right here in the central and western areas of Long Island. Moderate to heavy snow beginning to overspread into Connecticut in the middle of the night, Monday night to Tuesday morning, and then it's snowing at an accumulating pace here in Boston. I think this event for the interior Northeast won't be as impactful in the beginning of the storm, but it is snowing pretty heavily based off the HRRR model in the wee hours of the morning, just off the coast of southern New England, along the coastal regions. It shows very heavy snow falling in like Nantucket, basically southeast Mass, Cape Cod. This shows some extremely heavy snow falling for you guys at around 5, 6, 7 a.m. in the morning, Tuesday morning. So, man, you guys could get heavy snow out here in the islands off here in southeast Mass for sure. But they're going for it mixing on the southern shores of Long Island. So it's very close. Does New York City stay all snow, or do they mix? I think you will mix eventually, but here comes this last push of moisture. It only goes 48 hours out, and this is when I think you begin to mix with a little bit of rain as we're getting into Tuesday afternoon for Boston, but still snowing in kind of the interior sections of southern New England. I think it'll be raining at this point in New York City. But the interior areas in New York City as a midday Tuesday, it's still snowing for these regions. One thing I want to mention is what we call a frontogenesis band. It's basically an area of warm, moist air in the upper levels of the atmosphere. It's 5, 6, 7,000 feet up in the air. And you see where all these isobars are kind of coming together. This is basically an area of warm air advection, but it's still cold enough sounding-wise aloft above our heads for snow to be falling. So this will move through, I think, areas of New York City, Long Island, southern New England. even areas of northeast Pennsylvania, eastern sections of Pennsylvania. This is a solid front end thumping of snow. Moving through sometime tomorrow evening into tomorrow night for these areas. So I click a sounding, literally just a couple miles this is in the eastern Long Island area, so just east of New York City. It is 34 degrees at the surface. There's a little warm nose right here, but the warm nose at the 0 degrees Celsius line, this warm nose does not get above that 0 degrees Celsius line. As you can tell, it tries to rise at about well over 5,000 feet up in the air, 8,000 feet up in the air, maybe even more than that. It tries to rise, but it still stays below freezing, which is 0 degrees Celsius, 32 degrees Fahrenheit. It's the same thing. But one thing I want you to notice is look at the dew points, riding the temperature all the way up until you get way up in the upper levels of the atmosphere where you get 30, 40,000 feet up in the air. And then that's when you find a little bit more dry air. This tells us that there is a saturated column, which basically means that every snowflake is going to hit the ground, is going to fall. So the atmosphere is fully saturated. So basically it is going to be snowing like crazy because there's no real dry air to kind of dry up any snowflakes in the atmosphere. I hope that makes sense. Snowfall for the entire duration of this event coming up. Heavy snow possible for you folks. So in the interior Northeast, southern New England, how much snow are you guys going to get? But, another widespread 6 to 10 inch event for these higher elevations in the interior Northeast. Not a blockbuster event, but if I get a little bit closer for you folks in like Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, they're only going for about an inch or two, maybe 2 to 3 inches in Boston. They think it's going to mix with rain at the tail end of the storm. Long Island's kind of a weird section where I think the southern shores could mix. Going for around 2 inches of snow in New York City, which would be the biggest snowfall so far this winter. But once you get inland, widespread 4 to 6 inch snowfall totals in these higher hills right here in western Mass, northeast, northwest areas of Connecticut. Going for 6 to 8 inches of snow, maybe some pockets of a half a foot of snow in areas of Rhode Island. Yeah, so you guys could get a lot of snow out here in southeast Mass too. So this will be a nice, pretty snow. I don't think this is going to be a wind-driven snow. It's going to fall nice, heavily, and I don't think it's going to be a high-impact snow. It'll be more just a pretty snow falling. So that's how much you could expect with that. We move on to the next system. One thing I will tell you, the European has folded to the GFS as of now. We'll take a look at the GFS. It's moving far north with this system. It begins to enter the picture late Thursday evening. This is creating severe weather down here. We'll talk about that here in a second, but it creates a winter storm. The GFS does, basically from areas of maybe northeast Arkansas, areas of eastern Oklahoma. We're still on the fence about that, but hits areas of, Missouri, somewhere in the Ohio Valley. We don't know exactly where. Sometime Friday, heavy snow falling. This is getting very close. I'm pulling for you guys in Chicago. I really am. You guys have not seen hardly anything this year. But the GFS wants to show you guys some love as we're getting into our Friday. You're right on the corridor of some heavy snow. This will be a heavy snow event for folks like Indianapolis, but I do think it could switch to snow for you guys. This would be a hit for basically Missouri to central Illinois, northern Indiana, up to sections of Michigan. But how much snow could potentially fall off the GFS from this storm? Well, here comes another winter storm. Friday morning, more snow moving into Pennsylvania, New York City, southern New England, all of the Northeast. But this low pressure is not favorable. You're going to begin to change to rain. Snow changes to sleet, the freezing rain. You begin to mix in southern New England. And eventually, everybody along the I-95 corridor, as you're getting in the Friday morning, begins to switch to all rain. But it's still snowing like crazy. Again, another winter storm for the interior Northeast. European, what does this show? Well, as it's moving forward, it's still a little bit further south than the GFS. I don't know if the Euro is going to completely fold to the GFS. I think they will meet somewhere in the middle, but we'll stop this here. It's around Friday morning. You got a snowstorm basically from areas of Missouri, snow falling in central Illinois, snow falling for Indianapolis and central Indiana, snow falling for central and northern Ohio, Pennsylvania, even sections of Maryland and West Virginia. And then we're getting into a Friday midday. This really cranks up for areas of the Ohio Valley, the Midwest back here in Illinois. The dark blues is very heavy snow for your midday Friday. and heavy snow falling in Pennsylvania. Northern Ohio, low pressure is not favorable, again, for my guy here in West Virginia, but you never know. Hefty winter storm moving into southern New England, starting off as snow for New York City. Pennsylvania, a mixed bag of precipitation, warm nose affecting you guys and mixing in with ice also. And does it stay all snow for Boston, southern New England? We're not sure, but we're getting into Friday evening. This is a hefty winter storm for Boston, the entire Northeast, and areas of northern Mid-Atlantic. Hefty winter storm. So how much is the European going for in this area? And I have to do this on the fly because I forgot to pull up snowfall totals. Well, from this system, remember, this counts this system right here too. And then here comes the system behind it that we just broke down. And like I said, solid signal for my folks here in Illinois, Missouri, the northern half of Indiana, the northern half of Ohio. What does the GFS ensemble show? Same kind of signal, same area. And the GFS ensemble always shows more snow than the European ensemble. It always is bullish. But look at this corridor of snow here in the Midwest, areas of the northern Ohio Valley, the Great Lakes region. You know, this could make up from that winter storm that whiffed you guys back in, what was it, kind of mid-January, early January. So, you know, for you folks that thought winter was over out here, I don't know. You might be eating some crow, but it's going to be an interesting storm for the Mid-Atlantic. I know the Euros showed you guys a nice winter storm, but I'm telling you, the southeast ridge is still influencing the pattern. And yes, I am going to talk about the pattern change that could affect mid-March, but there is so much in front of us that there's no point in talking about something that's way out in front of us, like 2.5 weeks, when we have all this that we know is going to happen in some way or fashion out here before we get way out ahead of us. So there's going to be a severe weather event. There is a 30% risk. It's not changed since the video this morning. 30% risk of seeing severe weather within 25 miles in any given location. This is an enhanced risk at day 5 for our Thursday, March the 2nd. The Storm Prediction Center mentions a severe weather outbreak is possible. That's pretty rare. It's very hard for the professionals to say that wording if they're not confident that this could be quite significant. So this same system that's going to create snow up here is going to create severe weather to the south because it's going to be a very strong low pressure, sub 990, maybe 980 millibar low pressure, negatively tilted. It's going to be extreme winds. 15% risk to see severe weather. This is like a slight risk at day 6 for our Friday across areas of the southeast. Includes Birmingham, Atlanta, Chattanooga, Columbia, Charlotte, Asheville. It could be a big event also, but we have to watch the track of the low pressure to the north. I think regardless, the southeast Friday is going to be extremely windy unless, you know, the timing is off. But someone is going to get very windy under this low pressure. But the kinematics, all the dynamics are there for a severe weather event Thursday and a Friday for sure. And we talk about some of these ingredients. One thing we know is getting into Monday. Listen, I mean, tomorrow there's already going to be a lot of moisture up here, down here in the deep south, okay? Certain areas will stay humid, especially the southern sections of the deep south. We're getting into Tuesday. I mean, it's still pretty humid along the Gulf Coast. This area of moisture will continue to rise. These are not temperatures. Then we're getting into our Wednesday. Okay, dew points are already rising into the 60s all the way up to Memphis, the entire state of Louisiana, Memphis, well into the 60s. And then we get into our Thursday, and this is when a deep area of moisture really begins to develop. Look at this. We're getting into Thursday morning. It's not like the atmosphere is going to moisten up throughout the late morning and afternoon hours. It's already going to be primed for severe weather Thursday morning. Widespread dew points in the low 70s probably developing in Louisiana. And this is going to be a massive and deep moist sector. Look at these dew points, upper 60s, low 70s developing right where all this nasty severe weather could be. So there's plenty of low-level moisture in this region. And then we're getting into Friday, and there's going to be moisture in this area too. I mean, this is going to be a moving air mass at this point, but you're going to have an atmosphere that's going to build ahead of this cold front that kind of moves through and once again brings us a chilly weekend for this coming weekend. It seems like we just can't knock that away, but dew points ahead of this line. Something is going to be here. Are we going to have some kind of squall line set up for the southeast Friday? it's difficult to figure out. But in response to these higher dew points, you're going to have Cape values that, we'll stop this here. Cape values already showing up on the European 1,000 to 2,000 joules per kilogram on the global models. I mean, I can't even think about how high they're going to be once you get into these short range models. It's pretty worrisome to think about, but we continue. And then obviously we get into the overnight hours of Thursday night into Friday morning. The Cape diminishes with daytime heating, and then it'll spike again sometime Friday midday. And you're going to have a corridor of high Cape, 1,000 to 1,500 Cape right into here. And do we have some kind of segment of lines or just some supercells develop here in the southeast Friday? Not sure. I'll probably end up chasing Friday, probably not Thursday, but we'll see what happens here. It could be a dangerous, severe weather setup for sure. And the last thing we'll look at here is this amplified low-level jet in response to this extremely strong system that's going to move through. And here it goes. It begins to plow across Oklahoma, then northern Arkansas. And we'll stop it right here, actually, and bring it back. And you already have a 40, 50 knot low-level jet blasting through Louisiana, eastern Texas. And then we're getting into kind of late afternoon, late evening, if you will, into Mississippi, 50 to 60 knot low-level jets moving in. But really what I worry about is these wind profiles as we're getting into Friday. You have 60, 70, maybe 75 knot low-level jet moving through areas of Georgia, the Carolinas, with this low pressure up here to the northwest. These winds are going to mix at the surface. What that means is we're going to have strong winds across Georgia and the Carolinas Friday, and a prolific wind profile to create a lot of severe weather, I think, in the Carolinas and somewhere in the southeast Friday also. So stay safe out there, guys. This is the event involving right now. Let's take a look at radar scope again. Already got a tornado warning. Look at this in the panhandle. So dangerous setup, guys. Stay safe out there. This is cranking up, and this is certainly going to be a worrisome setup for Oklahoma tonight. God bless. Stay safe.